Hurricane Irma, the devastation, the surge, the lives changed.
Hurricanes, floods, wildfires. The media tell us climate change makes them worse.
The storms have been getting fiercer. Obviously, it's climate change.
Obviously, it's climate change, she says. But it's not just the silly people at MSNBC.
Clearly, climate change is playing a factor here.
Our greatest threat in thousands of years. Climate change.
Look, climate change is real and it could cause serious problems over time, but our greatest threat in thousands of years? I don't think so. But just expressing such skepticism got me censored by Facebook and good climate scientists attacked by our own government.
I don't have much patience for anyone who denies that this challenge is real. We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
Climate researcher Roger Pielke Jr. is not a flat earther.
Climate change is real. Greenhouse gases warm the climate, but it's not the apocalypse.
For more than 30 years, Pielke studied the relationship of climate science and climate policy. He's invited to give lectures all over the world. His climate research wins awards, and it's repeatedly cited by the IPCC, the United Nations Climate Panel.
My views are entirely mainstream. My work is cited by all three working groups of the IPCC. There's nothing contrarian or skeptical about my research.
But because he questioned the apocalypse part, he's been smeared, called a serial liar. The Obama White House attacked him personally. As a result, Pielke lost work, and his main employer, the University of Colorado, where he'd worked 24 years, closed his research center and put his office in this closet. In this interview, he describes his persecution. It's remarkable that a respected climate scientist can get almost canceled. Almost. It started around the time of Al Gore's Oscar-winning movie.
That's causing stronger storms.
This is the biggest crisis in the history of this country.
The environmental movement, really about 20 years ago, really coinciding with Al Gore's movie that had the hurricane coming out of the smokestack, decided to make extreme weather events the face of climate change.
Every storm is different now because it takes place in a warmer and wetter world.
I had earlier done research showing that the increasing impacts of extreme weather, mostly economic costs and loss of life, are due to what we build, where we build, how much wealth we have in harm's way.
Meaning there's more cost from storms
Right.
because there are more people building expensive property.
Absolutely. In my talks, I show a picture of Miami Beach in 1926 when a massive hurricane went through what is today downtown Miami. Of course, if that same storm came through today with the incredible wealth along that South Florida coastline, you'd have tens, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars in damage.
Doesn't warmer water create bigger storms?
All else equal, yes, it does. But the problem is the atmosphere is a complicated place, and you have things like wind shear, which knocks over storms. The basic understanding of hurricanes is that we haven't observed changes in the frequency or intensity that are beyond natural variability.
But you don't hear that. You hear hysteria.
Storms get stronger and more destructive. Watch the water splash off the city. This is global warming.
I felt so scared. Sorry.
Despair can be paralyzing.
When the climate advocacy movement shifted to extreme weather, I was already on the wrong side.
What do you mean the wrong side?
I had a leading climate scientist email me, and he said, "You do really good work, but your emphasis on the societal impacts side, not the weather side, could be misinterpreted as downplaying the role of climate change." And I realized very early on I had a choice to make. Was I going to call things like I see them, or was I going to succumb to pressure to say things that maybe I didn't believe?
Pielke did not succumb, and he paid for that after he published an article saying climate disasters cost more now not because of climate change, but because more people have built things in harm's way. Activists then made it their mission to deplatform him.
The Center for American Progress decided to make me a target.
The Center for American Progress is a left-wing think tank, a rich one thanks partly to people like billionaire Tom Steyer.
Climate is the #1 priority for me.
Steyer gave the center millions. The center then ran hit piece after hit piece, describing Pielke's work as fantastical falsehoods, using deeply misleading data, were ignoring the data. And they claimed President Obama's science advisor had schooled political scientist Pielke on the climate.
They wrote more articles about me than they did about George and Jeb Bush. I was public enemy number one.
He learned more about why it happened when
I woke up one morning and a colleague texted me and said, "Oh, you're in the WikiLeaks."
the leaked documents revealed an email from Think Progress editor-in-chief sent to Tom Steyer,
thanking him for his funding support that allowed them to deplatform me.
I think it's fair to say without climate progress, Pielke would still be writing on climate change.
It is very clear that at the time there was an enormous effort, and it was across the board, to try to silence people who had a voice.
When Pielke had the nerve to tell Congress,
it is misleading to claim that disasters associated with hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, or drought have increased on climate timescales.
President Obama's science advisor told Congress Pielke was just wrong.
Weather practically everywhere is being influenced by climate change.
He went back to the White House in kind of a fit and posted a 6-page screed about me.
What Pielke had said was also published in the findings of the IPCC. And yet,
the Obama White House put out a 3,000-plus word memo attacking you personally.
It was the sort of thing your crazy uncle might put on Facebook or something like that.
It said Dr. Pielke's statements are seriously misleading, not representative of mainstream views.
I'm the only academic or researcher that any president, including Donald Trump, has ever singled out and attacked from the White House.
After that, an alarmist congressman.
We must stop burning fossil fuels.
Announced an investigation into me and several other academics for possibly taking money under the table from fossil fuel companies. So I was investigated. Of course, I wasn't taking any money from anyone.
Well, I don't know about of course. People get donations for research. Do you get any money from fossil fuel companies?
No.
The zealots believe that if a science professor says what you say, you must be taking money?
Oh, I'm sure there are some people out there who cannot fathom that there are diversity of views on complex topics like climate change.
The investigation demanded all communications regarding his testimony.
Show us your emails?
Yes, the university lawyers, and as a public employee in Colorado, all of my emails were subject to open records inquiries anyway. And there's nothing to be found. I had no problem with it. I don't think politicians should be rooting around in professors' emails.
After rooting around, the university president wrote, the investigation did not discover any information indicating Pielke's funding sources influenced his research. But it didn't matter. The damage had been done. All but one of his speeches were canceled.
Taken away at that moment. Because, people didn't know, Pielke accused of financial irregularities. That's not a good headline. The press release announcing the investigation got all sorts of coverage, but when I was vindicated at the end, there was essentially no coverage.
It's so wrong. I'm not surprised by congressional witch hunts and irresponsible media, but what did surprise me was how leadership at Pielke's university joined in. The University of Colorado once defended academic freedom when one scientist wanted Pielke's blog shut down.
The director at the time told him basically, piss off. Pielke has academic freedom. He does what he wants.
But then, after the White House and Congress went after him,
things really changed for me. There was different leadership at the university.
Leadership that now says climate is the central focus of campus-wide initiatives.
Environmental justice, sustainability, and green living.
The university holds silly climate advocacy summits.
If we're going to talk a crisis, we need to talk it in a personal way and also based on intersectionality.
And spent millions on a center for sustainability education. And yet Pielke's center was closed.
I ran a very successful center, a research center on campus. I was told, we're not sure we're going to have funding for their center going forward. It was clear that they didn't want me there. And so through a series of turning screws on me, doubling my teaching load, forcing me to teach new classes just about every semester, eventually removing me from my department, having no classes to teach, no administrative support.
Do they, sheepishly tell you, oh, we don't want you to teach classes? Do they explain?
No.
For more of my content, go to johnstossel.com. I post a new short video every Tuesday. That's at johnstossel.com.
I complained about the lack of an office, the lack of teaching to dozen or more administrators. And they would sit, they would listen, and they would say, okay, this is something we need to think about. Nothing would happen.
Did colleagues turn away when they saw you in the hall?
My faculty colleagues, and I still have a lot of friends on campus, had a bit of fear. I had one colleague said, I'd love to support you, but I don't want them to come after me.
They put you in a little office. They stuffed filing cabinets in it.
I think 16 big boxes and 3 big file cabinets. Later, when I moved out and we discovered the file cabinets were all empty file cabinets. They were just taking up space. It was just day-to-day making your life a little bit more miserable.
The University of Colorado wrote us, we disagree with Pielke's assertions. We protect academic freedom and defended him during the congressional investigation. They didn't say why they later put his office in this closet.
You talk about this with a smile, but weren't you just furious?
It was not a fun time, not remotely. And what I went through was not what a university is supposed to be for.
No, it isn't. He was a tenured professor with no classes to teach.
I was a little bit like George Costanza working at the Yankees.
Morning, George.
Morning, Mr. Wilhelm.
I thought I'd just show up and, be a person with no unit and no responsibilities, collecting a paycheck, but I wasn't ready for that.
And to this day, have they sheepishly said, I guess we got carried away by crazies?
I was at the university for 24 years, brought in millions of dollars of research money, taught great classes, had an exemplary record. When I retired, I heard from nobody at the university.
Fortunately, he found another job.
I just decided that if they weren't going to support me, I would go where I could find support.
Now he studies climate at the American Enterprise Institute, one of the many think tanks that do research colleges once did.
I have more academic freedom at AEI than I've had in the last decade and a half. I'll be immodest for a second. My work has more reach and influence today than it has ever had. If I had to go through all that crap again to get to where I am today, I would do it in a heartbeat, because you can't be canceled. You can let them cancel you, but you can't be canceled.
Meaning only if you give in are you canceled.
Right. Politics ain't beanbag. And you shouldn't expect that people are going to warmly accept your messages if they are contrary to some people who have powerful positions.
Anybody still wants to dispute the science around climate change? Have at it. You will be pretty lonely.
I'm lucky. I landed exceedingly well and have had an opportunity to continue to have a lot of influence in discussing energy and climate issues in particular.
Thank you, Roger Pielke.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. New episodes drop the first Monday of every month. You can subscribe wherever you get podcasts.